Melody Shari and Martell Holt is something that fans are not going to forget anytime soon. This wasn't Instagram drama. It wasn't a messy back and forth on social media. This was the real deal, legal, official, undeniable. And trust me, when I say the way Melody moved had everybody watching in shock. She didn't walk in there trying to perform or act for the cameras. She came in with receipts, with documents, with undeniable facts that spoke louder than anything Martell could ever spin. And you definitely want to stick with me until the very end of this video, because the deeper you hear about this, the more jaw-dropping it gets. For years, Martell Holt has mastered the art of playing the victim, of creating just enough chaos to keep people talking but still painting himself as misunderstood. From the slick suits to the carefully crafted captions, from the tears on interviews to the cryptic quotes on Instagram, Martell has relied on image. Fans saw him as a charming father, a man struggling to get it right, someone who just kept messing up, but meant well. And to be fair, for a long time, a lot of people bought it. Even after everything with Melody, even after the affair with Arioni Curry that went on for years, there were still people defending him online. There were content creators who painted him as the one who just wanted his family, and fans who said maybe Melody was too hard on him. That illusion worked for Martell for a while, but all of that cracked wide open the moment he stepped into that courtroom and saw Melody sitting there. You could see it in his face. That charm he's always had, that confidence he carries like armor. It started slipping when Melody calmly pulled out her folder filled with receipts. This wasn't a time for live streams or cryptic posts. This wasn't about how many likes you could get on an Instagram story. Court doesn't care about captions. Court only cares about facts. And that's exactly what Melody came with. And here's the hook: you are going to want to stick with me until the very end. Because the things she revealed, the way, the vibe in that courtroom shifted. Something that even shocked fans who thought they'd already seen it all from Martell. The most powerful part of all, this was Melody's silence leading up to it. For months, even years, Martell has been the one posting, talking, trying to spin the narrative. Every time there was an episode of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, you'd see him on social media throwing out little digs, trying to sway fans in his direction. But Melody, she stayed silent. She didn't clap back. She didn't waste her time ranting online. She didn't respond to every insult or slick comment. And a lot of people misread that silence. They thought it was weakness. They thought maybe she was just letting Martell control the narrative again. But now we see it for what it really was. Strategy. Behind the scenes, Melody was documenting everything. Every message Martell sent. Every contradiction he posted online. Every shady transaction, she was collecting it. Quietly. Patiently. And when the time came, she brought it all into that courtroom. That silence wasn't weakness. That silence was strength. And the moment she laid everything out, you could feel the energy shift. Now, let's pause right here, because this is where you need to see how deep this goes. Fans inside that courtroom weren't just watching another argument between two exes. They were watching a complete unraveling of Martell's carefully polished image. And this is why you've got to keep watching this video until the very end, because the leaks that came after this day in court lined up perfectly with everything Melody had been saying all along. Martell's whole identity has been shaped by perception. That was always his weapon. He knew if he showed just enough vulnerability, people would sympathize. If he looked sharp enough, people would respect him. If he cried just enough, people would forgive him. He never had to tell the full truth, just half-truths that kept him afloat. But the second Melody put those documents in front of the judge, that whole illusion shattered. Suddenly, Martell wasn't the misunderstood dad fighting for his kids. He was a man caught in his own contradictions, with receipts proving it. And then came the leaks. We're not talking about rumors or fan speculation. We're talking actual files, contracts, Text messages, financial slips, things that backed up exactly what fans had suspected for years. Martell's image was not reality, was performance. He had been playing a role, and Melody's evidence showed it clearly. Now, here's where it gets even messier. Right around the time things started heating up legally, who do you think popped back up online? None other than Arione Curry. Just like clockwork, she started posting selfies, captions about growth, little nods at her side of the story, and fans weren't fooled for 1 second. The timing was too perfect. It looked like a distraction, a way to pull attention away from Martell's legal trouble and back toward their messy love story. But here's the thing: people remember everything. The internet doesn't forget. Fans pulled up old interviews, old Instagram lives, compared them with the new evidence. And suddenly, all those little details lined up. This wasn't just relationship drama anymore. This was a pattern. A pattern of manipulation, of distraction, of trying to control a narrative while hiding the truth. And when Melody brought that into the courtroom, it wasn't just about their marriage anymore. It hinted at something even bigger. There were whispers, even in that courtroom, about possible professional misconduct. Rumors that Martell had tried to influence producers behind the scenes, pressure castmates, maybe even push certain storylines on love and marriage. Huntsville to protect his own image. If that kind of thing ever got proven in court, it wouldn't just hurt his reputation. It could put contracts at risk. It could damage business deals. It could threaten the brand he spent years trying to polish. And let's be real, the cast of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, has been watching this play out too. Letitia Scott and Marseille Scott have had their own share of drama, but even they couldn't ignore the shift happening here. Morris Scott and Kimmy Scott, who often tried to play peacemakers, had to be paying attention. Because this wasn't just about Martell and Melody anymore. This was about the credibility of the entire show. Fans online started saying it felt like the camera had been used by Martell as a shield. A way to distract from what was really happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Melody didn't even flinch. She walked into that courtroom calm, collected, and let her team do the talking, while Martell tried to spin circles. Her lawyers laid everything out in black and white. Dates matched, screenshots aligned. Transactions were confirmed. It wasn't messy, it was precise, and it completely stripped Martell of the performance he's relied on for years. Now let me hook you again, because this is where it gets even more intense. Stick with me until the end, because you need to hear how Melody's silence became her loudest weapon. And how Martell's own words, the very thing he used to control the narrative, turned into evidence. Against him, every Instagram live he did, every cryptic post, every time he tried to make himself look like the victim, it all came back. It's played back not in the court of